be had about the best police officers in film and television. Their names have been changed to protect the innocent. My partner, Dan Dansky. My name is Nick. I carry a badge, and this is the best podcast.
This is the best podcast.
Why, hello, Dan. How have you been?
I have been excellent, except for all the wind and allergies picking up the last couple of days. I hope I don't sound too nasally.
Your nasally sounds very, very sexy.
Oh,
Remember when Phoebe on Friends got sick and she had a cold and she had like that deep kind of Tony Braxton voice, and then they were like,
no,
"Oh, it was a great episode."
I
She
don't
was
think
she
I
was
know that episode.
she was a singer and she's like, "Smelly cat, smelly cat." Like, my name is Phoebe. I think that's what I think that's how the song goes. Anyways, it was very sexy. But I'm sorry to hear about your allergies. But we're not here to talk about well, Dan's best allergies. That's a whole other list right there. Today, what are we talking about, Dan?
Coppers,
Coppers, the
Johnny
best.
Law.
Yeah, Johnny Law, the long arm of the law. I never understood what that meant.
It's because they can reach you wherever you run to. I guess.
Oh, oh yeah, that does make sense. Well, it was better when it was a mystery, to be honest with you. But we are talking about the best police officers from film and television. We're about to jump into that. But before we do, I'd just like to remind everybody, go ahead, give us a like and subscribe on all your podcatchers of choice. Leave us a comment. If you write something very nice, we just might read it on the air. If you write something funny, there's a good chance I'll read that too. Mean comments, we'll ignore those. I'll just scoff quietly and say I'm not reading that.
I don't
Uh,
know. I might take him to heart and hide in my room for days on end.
yeah, don't do that to Dan, guys. Don't do that. That ain't cool. That ain't right. Dan
Try
wouldn't do
to be
that to you.
constructive out there, people.
Constructive criticism, please. But yeah, go ahead, give us a like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it, about us. It does help. The show is growing by leaps and bounds, I'd say. I think we're kind of picking up steam.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Looking at some charts
Yeah, we saw some charts and figures, and hey, the sound of our sexy voices seems to be spreading, Dan. It's very infectious.
all over the states and all over the world.
Look out, Des Moines. We're coming for you. Anything else?
No, man, let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
Did you grow up with a healthy respect for authority figures?
Um, I did. I mean, the cops were, yeah, yeah. It wasn't up until recently that we started really kind of questioning authority, I suppose. But no, the cops were always just like, I was always, I could never, no, I was always just like terrified of cops. I was just like, 10 and 2 when the cops pull you over. Yes, sir. No, sir. That was pretty much it. They were just there. I never thought about them too much.
Yeah, I'm like that when I have to deal with authority figures. I'm very like, like you said, 10 and 2, yes, sir,
Mm-hmm.
yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, sir.
Yeah.
But as soon as they leave, I'm
You're
always
like,
fuck the police.
yeah, you got
And
oh,
at a
you.
very young age, I had like this disdain for authority, and I have no idea where it came from.
Oh, it's
Like
just
I
like
have no idea. It didn't
young
come from the parents or I don't, my older brothers or anything. I have no idea where it came from.
young men, testosterone raging. It happens. We don't like people telling us what to do. I'll park here if I want to. Damn it.
No, but having said that, and looking at all the options for this topic, whoo, there are a lot. We should probably jump into this.
We should. What is today's topic, Dan? By the way, that opening was a Dragnet reference. I don't know if you got that.
I did.
Thank you. Thank you. I felt
I
like
did.
you there.
Hopefully, our listeners will too.
They took.
Uh,
They're
Not a
like,
lot
"Oh,
of boomers listen, or maybe they do. I don't know. We don't get those kinds of demographic reports.
yeah, not yet, but they've been waiting for somebody to finally make reference to Dragnet, and they're like, finally, this is a show for us.
Someone out there is yes.
Yes, thank you, Nick. Thank you for bringing back Dragnet. But yeah, that's right. Today we're talking about the best police officers from film and television. Then there's a lot of them. I did like kind of a deep dive, and I'm like, man, I forgot about this guy. I forgot about her. Oh man, this guy was pretty cool. So there's a wide selection we can choose from.
There are so many. My list is long. Um, so there's no chance for
Crossover.
double dipping, crossovering.
We
None
call
of
that crossing the streams.
that. No crossing the streams here.
I'm excited. This was actually kind of like we just kind of put this together a couple days ago, but the more I was doing some research on it, the more I got really excited about this episode. There's some really fun. I think there's some really fun topic.
Oh yeah, yes. Should we jump into it?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I just love jumping into it. You want to start or should I?
How about you?
All right. The very first pick, my first pick was the very first person that had popped in my head. Played by, it was actually, this was a character in it started in television and then he jumped to film. Played by Leslie Nielsen, Detective Lieutenant Frank Drebin. From in the film, it was The Naked Gun. In
Yeah.
television, it was Police Squad. Dan, did you ever see Police Squad?
No, I know of it. Never seen it.
It's all on YouTube. It's hilarious. It's just basically young Frank Drebin. A lot of the same jokes, but it's really, really great. It's. I think they only made like 6 or 7 episodes of it. It's a shame.
And it's very spoofy of the detective drama kind of.
Yes, it is. It's very spoofy of like Dragnet. Sorry to our Dragnet fans out there.
You're hitting them from both sides.
Yeah, I know. You can never trust me, guys. You can never trust me. You never know what side I'm going to take. No, but I love Frank Drebin. I love the Naked Gun series. I've seen it 1,000 times. I'll see it 1,000 more. He's just I love his deadpan, just so straight laced, straight faced, and just the face of all this idiocy around him.
Yeah,
He's
right,
such a-
right.
Such a great character.
Solid. It's got to, and you have to admire the actor that can perform that role, right? Leslie Nielsen, of just keeping that straight face when everything is so comical.
I watched an interview with Leslie Nielsen talking about The Naked Gun, why he likes it, and he's all like, he really was drawn to it, and he really loves it because he said it's not a mean-spirited kind of comedy. He gave a great example of it. It's in the scene in the first movie, I believe, where they were going to make Frank look at something through a microscope, and Frank looks down at it, and he's like, I can't see anything. And then he's like, oh, thank you. So he's all like, in real life, you're like, yeah, it's stupid. Look through the open eye. But he said, no, oh, thank you. That's good advice. I will look through my open eye.
Such simple buffoonery.
It really is. It really is. But that's my number one, Detective Lieutenant Frank Drebin.
All right. Strong entry. All right. For my first, let me ask you this.
Shoot.
What do Frank Sinatra, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Clint Eastwood, Mel Gibson, James Caan, and Richard Gere have in common?
They've all eaten at Planet Hollywood.
Possibly. But I was fishing for, they all turned down the role of Detective John McClane from the Die Hard franchise.
Is that
played by
right?
Bruce
Really?
Willis. Yep.
Frank Sinatra turned it
Now,
down.
Frank Sinatra is the most interesting case, right? Because he was 70 at the time. But in the late 60s, he had starred in this movie called Detective, which was based on a book by the author that wrote um, the book that eventually became Die Hard. So the studio
Oh.
was they contractually had to offer it to Frank Sinatra first,
Uh-huh.
which he was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that at 70." And then
Uh-huh.
they started hitting all the action stars of the time that were passing for various reasons. Schwarzenegger wanted to go into comedy at the time, like Twins and
Uh-huh.
that kind of stuff.
So
Um,
wait, so the Sinatra, so the Sinatra original Sinatra movie, was he John McClane in that movie, or was he a
the
different
name
name?
was the name was different, but it was always meant to be the same character in both
Uh,
the books that the author had written. And I
oh,
don't have
okay.
the author's name off the top of my head, but
Okay.
really interesting to think
We'll
of
find
that
it.
movie without Bruce Willis.
Mhm. Yeah, isn't it a trip when they mention certain, like, even with like Stallone? How first of all, how's Stallone supposed to, or Schwarzenegger supposed to fit in the vent in the vents, in the
Yeah, I
air
mean,
conditioning
well,
vent?
they just build a bigger vent.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, I suppose.
But getting to why he's one of the best cops. It's interesting because it changed the action genre, right? Because all those action movie type stars passed it up, all of a sudden it turns the action movie on its head. Now we have an everyman type hero,
Yeah,
right? The more
yeah.
relatable. He's not muscle bound. He's wisecracking.
And
You know what I mean?
he got bloody as hell. He got the
Yes, he did. And shoot the
crap kicked
glass.
out of him. Yeah.
Um, and and it also kind of created that whole genre of, oh, we're gonna have one lone hero against seemingly insurmountable
Yeah.
odds,
Yeah.
just stuck in a place. I
Yeah.
mean, speed, uh, freaking even snakes on a plane is kind of like a version of Die Hard. You know what I mean?
Just one
It's
man,
like you don't really need
Samuel
much
L.
plot. You just put a guy in a place and a bunch of bad guys. That's it. Just
Samuel
stuck in a
L.
place.
versus the snakes. What a great pick! What a great pick! I'll be honest, I didn't even think about McClane. I think because at this point, John McClane's been turned more into a superhero than he did. He feels more like a hero, like a superhero, than he does a cop anymore. But in those original movies, he was very much a cop.
Very much a cop. Yep.
Yeah. And I will also say, underrated movie, Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance. I think that's probably the second best Die Hard movie.
I would agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. What am I gonna go with next? That's a good first pick. I'm gonna go. Okay, I will go with Columbo, played by Peter Falk. And I
Yep.
looked this up. I found it truly remarkable. Apparently, the show Columbo ran from 1971 to 2003. That's what IMDb says, and
I mean, not consecutively.
I have no idea. It didn't mention break it off if there was a different Columbo. I didn't know Peter Falk was alive up to that point.
Is he still alive?
No, he had. I mean, his that glass eye of his is still alive, but
Oh, damn.
still somewhere. But no, Peter Falk as Columbo, Lieutenant Columbo. As far as I could tell, he had no first name. He was just Columbo. But
I want to
no,
call him Frank.
he feels like a Frank. Yeah, I would go with the Frank, or maybe Ishmael,
Whoa, whoa. Yeah,
Lieutenant Ishmael Columbo.
it's out of left field, but
It kind of is. That's what I like about it. But no, he was such a great character, and yeah, I never understood the concept of the show until I was like a little bit older. Where like the most of these crime shows, cop shows back in the day, is you don't know who the killer is, and you follow the cop to who we suspect as the killer. But Columbo was different. We know who the killer is. He's in the beginning of every episode. You see who the killer is, and then it's just getting Columbo to kind of get him to trip up. He pretends to be stupid, but he's very, very smart.
it's a good technique, actually. Yeah.
It worked for Peter Falk.
So clearly that show is shot in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I do know that I mean the amount of screen time that Columbo was not wearing a trench coat is probably very limited.
It's true, yeah.
And I'm like, why was he always in a trench coat, man? It's
Yeah,
LA.
that is a good point.
Going on.
Like during the daytime, especially, maybe a handful of times you can get away. You could wear a long trench coat in LA, but you really would stick out like a sore thumb. Nobody wears long coats here unless you go to
Nobody.
a goth club and it's like a leather and it's got hoops and like whips and things like that on there. It's only a sex thing in LA.
On that note, no, but he's yes, highly he's got a big resume of perps taken down.
Oh yeah.
A lot of perps taken down. All right, my next one, number 2. From the mean streets of Detroit, our boy Axel Foley, Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh man.
Oh yes.
I was waiting to see if somebody's gonna pick him.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites. Dude, he's tracking down his friend's killer. Has to come out to Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, fish out of water type comedy, but with the serious undertones of crime and murder.
Mhm.
He's so damn charismatic, funny, and just kind of crafty. I mean, come on, bananas in a tailpipe.
That
Don't ever think of that before. I had
he
never seen it.
that role is so much just him and him kind of riffing and just being kind of Eddie Murphyizing it. I think they originally wanted Stallone to be this,
That's funny. Yeah, I have that written down. It's
and
it's funny. My top 2 picks. I'm like, it's like what would have been.
yeah,
The character probably would have never made this list if it was Stallone.
yeah. I don't, but just I mean, I think Stallone would have. I don't even know if it was supposed to be a comedy when they originally made it. When they originally wrote it.
Well, it's not full comedy, it's naturally going to have comedic moments if you've got a person of Eddie Murphy's caliber, you know. Like that movie, 48 Hours. It's like that's not a straight comedy, but
Right.
because Eddie Murphy's, the ex-con, like it's just fantastically funny throughout.
Another thing about Beverly Hills Cop, Axel's lady friend in that movie, quietly, one of my super hot. I always forget how I don't even know her name, but I thought she was like stunningly beautiful. I think she's still drop dead gorgeous. That lady, she's just the right amount of 80s.
Just yeah, probably because it's like early 90s.
Was it early 90s? No, I think Beverly Hills Cop was still definitely 80s. No, I remember it was 80s because there's the scene where Axel Foley's walking down the street and he walks past like those 2 white dudes and wearing the Thriller jacket, and he just Axel turns his head and goes, "Oh boy."
Oh yeah. Okay,
That definitely was 80s. Definitely was 80s.
Good shout right there. Nice.
Damn, I'm good, guys. I just pulled that out of my ear right now. I remember anytime there's a Thriller jacket, I know about it. It's one of my things.
Wow.
Oh man, good pick. Okay, Dan, I thought about this my next pick, and I'm not sure if you're gonna allow this. I'm gonna just tell you my pick, and you say, okay, I'll accept that, or no, because they're not technically a cop, but they do cop-ish things. Played by Angela Lansbury, Mrs. Jessica Fletcher, from Murder, She Wrote. Now, she is not a cop, but she's solved more murders than most police officers, and she did work directly with the police in many episodes.
So she's an author, right? Like
She
her
is an
character's
author, yes.
author, writes like, whodunits.
Yes.
And she's so good at whodunits that she can figure out in real life who done it.
Well, it's not that so much that like I do love that show. I do watch the show. It's just that the people around Everybody else around her is really incompetent, and they're all like, well, anytime she works with the police, it's always like some kind of buffoonish cop. He's like, well, it's clearly the husband. Come on, Mrs. Fletcher. And she's like, I don't know. I mean, they were in a different state at the time. He's like, yeah, detail.
Wow, something as obvious as that, huh?
Trains are fast, Mrs. Fletcher. Trains are very fast.
Yeah,
But
all those bullet trains had
yeah,
that.
all those bullet trains. So
It's interesting because that's a similar era, that show, as Columbo, right?
1984 to 1996 was a hell of a long.
That's a nice run. Yeah.
Damn good run.
I'll allow it.
You're gonna allow it? It's okay if you don't. I have two other picks I can pick here.
Well, be sure to mention them in your honorable mentions.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so my third and final, we'll see if you allow this, because I couldn't separate the two. So this is a pair.
Mm-hmm.
Cagney and Lacey.
Ooh.
Now, I have to admit, I never watched the show, but I know those damn names.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a popular show back in the day. And as those names popped in my head, I'm like, okay, let's do a little research. Man, I mean, you got to realize this is the first time that there was a buddy cop duo that was female.
Mm-hmm.
It ran basically the course of the 80s, like 81 to 88. These two actresses, Sharon Gless, who played Cagney, and Tyne Daly, who played Lacey.
Mm-hmm.
Either one or the other won the Emmy each year the show was on air. That's a nice run. Six consecutive Emmys from either one of them.
That does make sense, because who do you nominate between the two? Like, they both.
Yeah, I wonder what their kind of competitive level was.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, it's you this time. Oh,
I'd really have. Yeah, I'd be pissed if, like, me and you had a buddy cop movie, and then like you kept getting all the Emmys, and I'm like, and I was like, well, we're co-stars here.
But yeah, like I'm definitely gonna visit those. I believe they're available on Amazon Prime for $1.99 for, I guess, 7 seasons. That's a bargain. Cagney playing was the single career-minded cop,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Lacey, I might have these reversed right now that I'm thinking of it, was the one who was, married with children, blue collar detective. But not only were they taking down perps, but also dealing with just all sorts of sexism in the male-dominated field of law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. Was really? I've never seen any episodes of Cagney and Lacey. I didn't know if that was the thing going on in there. I did watch a lot of Rizzoli and Isles, though.
Look at that. There's probably no Rizzoli and Isles.
Without
There isn't a Cagney and Lacey.
And
Trailblazers.
Cagney and Lacey. There would be no Cagney and Lacey without Laverne and Shirley. Cagney and Lacey's Laverne.
Yeah,
and Shirley.
it's like, okay. They were no, I'm thinking of Alice, aren't I?
Yeah.
Laverne and Shirley worked on like assembly lines and
They were in some beer garden or something like that. They would just put their gloves on a beer bottle and let it go. I'm like, ladies, that's gonna get in the box. We can't cap the bottle like that.
We digress.
We digress. Sorry, we went to Ethel and Lucy's school of beer bottling here.
How about some honorable mentions? Who you got?
Okay, some honorable mentions.
The outside looking in.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I have Kojak, played by Lieutenant Theo Kojak, played by Telly Savalas. He wore a hat. He ate the lollipop.
Yes.
Who loves you, baby? The thing I've never seen. I've only seen clips of Kojak, but the one thing I always saw that I was jealous of. He did a thing where if he was gonna go visit, like, time to go talk to the mayor, so he would just go drive up directly in front of like the house of wherever he was gonna. He always had a prime parking spot in the front of whatever. He never had to go to a parking lot ever. It was that kind of show.
Yeah, and he was one of the bald sex symbols.
Yeah.
It's like it didn't matter. No hair, no cares.
He's like, I don't have any hair on my head, baby. It's all on my shoulders, and you know that's what women like. So
Right.
I have Kojak, and I also have one of the other movie police officers, Detective Somerset in 1995. Morgan Freeman from
Oh yes,
the movie Seven. That's such a
that's
great
great.
character.
That is great.
Really,
Yeah.
really warm character. Well, it's like a sad character, but he brings a lot of warmth in that. I love that movie, but man, it puts you in a mood at the end of it.
His scene with Gwyneth Paltrow when Brad Pitt's out of the room and he's over there for dinner
Yes.
is so good.
Hmm.
Oh man, it's so just understated but emotional. You know, just how he's just not comforting, but just lending that kind of wise ear to her and just can
Yeah.
see through her, like trying to put on a brave face and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's great.
I also like when he's having dinner at their house, and then the train goes by and everything starts to shake, and
Hmm.
then he's all like, "You got a great mobile house here," and then everybody starts to laugh. Like, I
Yep.
love that scene because it's one of the very, very few moments of like levity in that movie. It's
Oh,
like
I know. Yeah, it needed
breathe
it.
a little bit,
It
like
needed it.
laugh,
It
people.
needed
My
it.
God. But those are my two honorable mentions: Detective Somerset, no first name, and Lieutenant Theo Kojak.
Nice. I've got from Miami Vice, Sonny Crockett.
Ooh, yes.
I mean, come on, living on a boat with an alligator with a gator,
Yeah.
2 tours in Vietnam.
Mhm.
Uh,
Did you ever want to live on a boat? Did you like? Did that always
oh, I was
that
a
ever
huge
appeal
Miami
to you?
Vice fan, so yeah, yeah, I was like, I'm gonna live on a boat, be a cop.
See, I never watched Miami Vice, but the thought of living on a boat seemed pretty cool to me.
And not, and yeah, yeah, and no interest in sailing, but just
No,
living on
not
a
at
boat
all.
in a
Like,
dock.
what the hell's a mast?
But yeah, I mean, come on, dude. The guy popularized wearing a t-shirt with blazers. I mean, come on.
I always like the idea of living on a houseboat because the idea of like picking up a woman in a bar and say, "Hey, baby, come back. Let's go to the docks." She's like, "Why?" Like, he's like, "I'm not gonna kill you. I live there. Good luck with that. See how well that turns out for you."
Exactly. Exactly. And then I had Chief Hopper from Stranger Things. Just a good character, you know, and the series starts, he's kind of a alky pill popper because he's dealing with his past, losing his kid stuff. But then as the kids in town get into more and more trouble, he kind of pulls himself out of his darkness and you know, even to the point of, you know, adopting Eleven and becoming that kind of strong father figure.
Mhm.
Pretty awesome character.
Yeah, I've never seen Stranger Things, but I hear very, very good things about it.
Well, you should check it out one of these
Mhm.
days.
All right, we got good picks. Do you have a worst? Should we do
I do.
I do too. All right, let me go with my worst. Let's see. I forgot. I gotta wrote down his name. Lieutenant Carl Winslow from what was that? From Family Matters, played by
Oh,
Reginald Vel Johnson. You'd remember him, Dan. He was in Die Hard.
and he's not great in Die Hard either.
He was. I did like his scene in Die Hard where McClane's like, "Hey man, what's your deal, bro? What's your deal?" And then he's like, "I shot a kid." Just the way he said it. But like McClane just like, "Oh man, that really sucks."
Yeah, I had an accident. I shot a kid.
I shot a kid. I'm like, they should have given him a second take for that one. I think it was a mistake to go with the first one. But either way, he was Carl Winslow. Actually, I do love the character of Carl Winslow. I used to watch Family Matters all the time when I was a kid. It was in that Friday night TGIF block. Strangely enough, I was never that into Urkel, but I did like the rest of the family. Um, but yeah, he was a fun character. He was kind of like he was like a '90s Skipper to me. He was kind of like a big galoot, but very very lovable.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
I don't know how many perps that man took down. They They never really.
It
I
was
don't remember-
never central to this.
Yeah, it never really. I
storyline.
don't remember him having to deal with like gangbangers or anything like that.
Oh,
And
because he was a desk cop probably.
probably he was making copies and printers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Um, well, my worst, he got out there. He got out there, always chasing those Duke brothers around. Yep, none other than Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Oh, I good.
And,
I don't like that.
and his,
I don't like that he's on the worst list, but
and his
I
dog.
love that
Flash.
character.
Well, it's interesting because I always remembered him as the bumbling kind of idiot. Almost, it's so funny because it reminds me a little bit of Wile E. Coyote, always chasing Roadrunner and always failing to catch Roadrunner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's basically what Roscoe P. Coltrane became, but apparently, and I did not recall this, but he wasn't always that way. The character wasn't always that way. In the first season or whatever, he was written much more serious,
Mm-hmm.
kind of hardcore.
Yeah.
But the show's creator realized that kids were really loving the show, so they started writing the character of Roscoe P. Coltrane lighter, funnier,
Mm-hmm.
and turning him into a bumbling idiot.
So he was like, refresh my memory. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get them Duke boys." That was
Yeah,
him.
cuff him and stuff him.
Yeah.
Get.
Dan? What would you do if you started a new job, and that guy was your boss?
Oh man, that would be rough.
Let's
And,
say you started.
his
Let's say
dog,
you
his
started
dog
at
Flash.
yeah, you started over at a barista at Starbucks, and you're all like, "Oh, Dan, there, you gonna make me a coffee for the customers right there? You will."
Well, you're almost going into Boss Hog right there.
Wait, what's the? Oh crap! I am thinking about Boss Hog.
It's a subtle difference. I mean, as the seasons went on, they almost became like interchangeable. It's so strange.
We
So
need to
strange.
we need to make a show about the Starbucks boss. It's like, you gonna make a cup of coffee for the customers there?
I worked at a Starbucks for a minute.
Was that guy your boss? Was he?
No, no, he was not.
It should have been.
The boss was much different than that.
Well,
All right,
okay.
those are our worst, huh?
Those are our worst. All right, we got to figure out the best now. All right, are we doing? Are we just picking one and we're just flipping a coin? Or are we doing the brackets?
Yeah, no, one on one.
One on one. Love it. Okay, who you going with? Who you bringing to the table? Oh, come on down
I
there,
think I got to go with my boy John McClane.
John McClane, and I shall go with Mrs. Jessica Fletcher.
Nice. I just realized I had a huge omission from my outside looking in.
What was your huge omission?
Dirty Harry.
Oh, damn it! Yeah.
I have them written down, but my notes are so crazy that I missed them. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, there's
we
so
got
many
John
casts
McClane.
we can bring this episode back. There's no saying we can say Best Cop Part 2. Okay, I will go Jessica Fletcher. You are going John McClane.
That's correct.
All right, I'm
Just
going.
dip your toes.
I'm picking this time because I always lose at these things, and I'm gonna go with the magical Tails because Tails, in fact, never fails. Tails for Mrs. Fletcher. Let's see. It's heads.
Woo! Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
John McClane officially is the best police officer of film and television.
Yeah.
The first time I got the first pick, and of course I had to lose it. But this was a great list. If I had to lose to somebody, glad to have to lose.
Come out to the coast. We'll have a couple drinks. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, hang out in the air chute. It'll be great. Stallone can't fit in here. They got to make a bigger one for him. But good call, my friend. Always love that movie. Can never go wrong with Die Hard. So, should we tease next week's episode?
I'm getting excited about it already.
I kind of am. So, folks, me and Dan have recorded all these podcasts. He's at home and I'm at home, and we do it via Zoom. But next time, we're gonna be together. But not only are we gonna be together, we got 2 more people showing up. We're gonna tease I don't want to say exactly who. One of them is familiar to you guys if you've been paying attention. But it's gonna be a special episode. We're all gonna be in person, and oh man, I don't know how much more I want to tease than that.
Yeah, I know you don't want to give up too much.
Let's just
But
say
the format's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be
format's
kind of exciting.
format's gonna be a little bit different. I'll just say we're gonna have a draft of some kind. So I think it's gonna be a really fun episode. I'm legit excited about this one. I've been kind of planning it out, here and there, and
Yeah, let's just say there will be a hashtag squad goals.
oh yes, hashtag serious squad goals. So I hope you guys tune in next week because it's gonna be an awesome episode. But that being said, this has been the best podcast.
This is the best podcast.